Hello friend, it's Tonton, and in today's video we're gonna keep the guides coming with the heroes. We're gonna talk about Gen 6. It might not be the most interesting generation for most people. It's even generation, so 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, and stuff like that. And often people tend to say that they're a bit less exciting, which is not always true, but in that case, it is, but we will cover it because it's still a very interesting gen in some regards, and you have some good options. I will start with the lucky wheel as usual. So in Gen 6, you have, let's cover the gen before. So you have Renee, that is a Lancer hero that you get from the lucky wheel. So that's our little dude on the ball with the hair. I mean, probably a girl actually. You have Wayne. He's a Marksman hero that you get from SVS prep and KOI and that kind of stuff. So you can, you can get easily shard on it. So the easiest one is Renee with the lucky wheel. The second easiest one is Wayne. And the last one that I did not do is our friend Ming, that is an infantry hero. So if you think about Gen 6, Renee is having a lethality offensive widget. The issue is for bear, you don't really you're gonna not gonna use Renee, you're gonna use Mia still. So Mia, you're gonna use Mia for a long time. So that offensive widget is not really interesting. So Renee is a very good option for overall for free to play because it's a lucky wheel hero. So you will get him to you will get her to 4-star. And then you know in arena that will be a good buff because your last hero might have been Mia. You might have done Arena or Nora in between. But overall, Renee is good. He has some good damage, some good skill. He's not a beast in arena. Like he's not a crazy hero. He was a very welcome addition to my team. For example, I replaced him Nora with him, and that worked really well for me because he is Gen 6. But overall, he's not standing out either at the rally, for free to play in the sense that you're not gonna use him on bear. You're gonna use him for solo march, expedition, arena mostly. And as well, something very important to note about Renee is like the first expedition skill. That skill is dealing 200% extra lancers damage, and that's for one turn. So every 2 turn. So every 2 turn, there is a death marks put on the targets on the opponents, and that you will do 200 extra lancer damage from the opponent. So that skill is really important at the rally joiner because you will likely use 60-40 with Renee in defense, and that's a lot of extra damage from your lancer. So you will want to have one Renee. This skill used to be insane because it used to stack without diminishing return, so you would get 800% if you had 4 Renees, right? The developer, they fixed it a few weeks ago, so now there is the diminishing return, so it might still be good to have 2 Renees. We need to do a bit more testing, but it's unlikely to be as good to have 4 Renee in your offense and defense because you will more or less sometimes use Renee like 60-40 and use 4 Renee in offense, 4 Renee in defense at the rally joiner. So you will want people with Renee in your garrison, at least one, especially if you use 60-40. That will be very good. Like we said, the widget is offensive widget, lethality widget. So if you care, to play offensively in some event like Foundry and stuff, there could be a place for that. But overall, as you're not gonna use him for bear, Renee is gonna be mostly useful for a bit of arena, a bit of exploration, a bit of solo march. For rally leaders, he's a good option. He's a good offensive option. If you look at the previous generation, Lancer's Nora was defensive widgets, and the last offensive widget you had was actually Reyna, right? So that's quite a while ago. So that will be so Renee will be a welcome addition compared to Reyna in terms of stats, especially if you use a lot of Lancers because you will get a lot more attack and defense, and you will get a lot more from the widget. You will get a lot more lethality and health as well. So that's really good. So our friend Wayne, I talked a bit about Wayne in the last video. Wayne is like very similar to Gwen in many ways. He's good in arena. People love him in arena. He has nice damage. He does not even have... He have one area of effect skill, right? So that's okay. But overall, he does a lot of damage. So if you have Wayne and Gwen, you are very, very strong in arena in this generation. They are working very well together. Some people even use lean, and they use 3... They use 3 marksmen, and they use either 2 infantry or 1 lancer and 1 infantry. You could still use you will have Hector probably You might have Amos if you picked Amos in the previous gen, else you will have Flinch, right, as a free-to-play low spender. So it will be a good addition. Wayne, what else to say about Wayne? Yeah, same for your solo march and all of that. He's a new generation hero. Nearly every time he will be a better option than the previous one. That's all fair enough. He had the skill that's not really good at a rally joiner, is not really used. It's like every turn you did 100% extra damage, while it's 25% per turn. That could look very good. Mia is 50% to do 50% chance more damage. Somehow that works better on the Mia skill than on this one. So people that did extensive testing on Wayne, it's not conclusive that even if you could say that both are 25% because 50% is every other turn, so that's 25%. That's 25% as well, but does not work that well. So you will not use him as a rally joiner. He's using critical and stuff. He might be working on the very offensive. And while he's kind of an offensive hero in terms of skills, his widget is actually defensive with lethality, right? So he does damage, but defensively. So you might use him as a garrison leader. In your march. So because Gwen has an offensive widget here, you will probably use Gwen for attack and Wayne for Gwen for attack and Wayne for defense if you are a rally leader. So that's why you will want him, because he will do a lot of damage to the opponents. And that will be really, really good. Let's talk about Wooming. Wooming is one of the heroes that everyone suggests you to skip. If you're a whale, if you're a big spender, I don't know anyone that was unhappy with Wooming when they unlocked him. That's often what I say, right? In Arena, he's okay. He's a new generation hero. He's not amazing, but he's not bad. People, we used him in rally sometimes. In offense, you might still use, some people were still using Geronimo up to that point, right? Because most of the widgets are actually defensive. If you look at the latest Infantry, actually all the widgets were defensive except Geronimo, right? Because you had Flint, that was an offensive widget, but it's a attack widget versus a lethality widget for it's an attack widget as well for Geronimo. So it's matching, right? It's matching, but then you had Logan defender widget with defense. You had Amos with health, so that was really good for defense, but that was a defensive widget. Then you have Hector with attack, but a defensive widget, right? So you have very, very defensive widget and heroes, and Wooming is as well a very defensive hero. So you will likely use them in garrison, and then use Geronimo for offense if you're a big spender or rally leader. And then that's where Edis is so much better than Geronimo, and even if it's a very defensive hero for Edis, because she gives health in defense as well. So she's very good for defense, and that Gen 7, and you will start to use, less and less, you will start top using Geronimo for offense, except very edge cases, right? But Wooming overall, like the order, I kind of cover them in the order for free-to-play low spender. You will go for Renee, that's the lucky wheel, 4-star, you spin 17 times every time, that's gonna be okay. Then you consider, if you skip Gwen, you can do Wayne. My suggestion was to do Wayne because Wayne is usable for Bear because she has a lethality widget, when Wayne do not have it, right? So you will go for Wayne if you want an extra arena hero and you have the shards and he wants to be good in arena. And Wayne is totally a hero you can skip because Gen 7 you will have Bradley, which is a lucky wheel hero that is amazing everywhere. Amazing in arena, that's the best hero in the game in terms of power you gain that I've met so far. So, I've been playing until Gen 8. So it's really insane. So you will have Gwen, you will have Bradley, that's gonna be very good. Gen 7, it's the next video, but I suggest to get Edis as well, which is an infantry hero. So that will make you, another infantry, and you add Hector. So Wooming and Wayne, they are kind of in between better heroes. I don't know if you skip Amos somehow, if you're not planning to get Edis for whatever reason and you need an infantry in between, why not? Again, if you're a rally leader or big spender, that's you're gonna appreciate it in arena and you're gonna be useful for rally leading a bit. But that's about it. So Gen 6 is more or less a pass. It's not a big generation for most people. Gen 7 is a lot more interesting. There is a lot more going on. Just understand that the good rally leader is joiner is our friend Renee, and that we didn't check Wooming, but I don't think Wooming is actually being used. It's like dodging and countering enemies, reducing his infantry damage taken from normal. And so it's like a reduction from normal and skills. It's a bit of a different one. So 15% from normal attacks and 18% from skill. So if you want to counter a very specific situation, I don't know. I'm actually not sure, to be honest. I've never seen him used, but there might be a scenario you might be creative here, because we are moving away from 4 Patrick, right? It does not mean we can use any of 4 other heroes, so like Wuming and Hector and whatever, and you put 4 of them, it's gonna be better, but it means that a lot of combination is gonna be better. And there could be somewhere where Wuming fits, because it's a good damage reduction you have. It's actually 18, but I don't have it maxed, so 25 and 30, and that's very, very reasonable, right, when maxed out. So, there could be like if there is a generation where you get a lot of damage from hero skill, like Nora is doing, for example. She's doing a lot of damage. That might be a counter to Nora, for example, but that's not something we explored. That's not something we tested. So I just wanted to put it out there, because the meta is kind of still being discovered, and things are still being used. So if you find a use for Wuming as a rally joiner, please let me know. That would be really interesting to know, because so far Wuming was really like in every guide you could have read like a year ago or whenever, like everyone was like, Wuming is dead, don't bother at all about it. So that's where you are. So Gen 6 is not a big change. Let's look at what it might look like in like exploration on Arena for you. So you will have Hector, you will have Flint, you might have Amos in between, right? So in my case I had Amos. Then you will get Gwen, that was the suggestion. You will get you might get Nora, you will get Mia for sure, and you will get Lynn. So that's likely what it is looking like for most of you. You might have Flint instead. Usually in Arena, you want the first 2, an exploration, you want the first 2 heroes to be infantry, and you can swap them, see if it works better. It works better on some waves, it works less on other waves. Usually you want the biggest damage dealer at the back, except if they do a lot of damage and you want to split your marksmen so they are not being taken down both at once, because some heroes, they have AoE damage that will, if they attack Lynn, it will kill Gwen, for example, and that you don't want to happen, so you might want to split it. If you want, for a Nora, if you want for a Reyna, you just do that formation basically, and that's gonna be good enough for now. That's gonna carry you most of the way. If you had Wayne, people will simply do that. And depending on how strong he is, if you put more widget level and more stuff on him, you can put him middle. But likely, if I would take Wayne at the free-to-play low spender, I will not invest much in him. I'll unlock him 4 stars because they will be a bit better than Lynn. Lynn is not really good for Arena and exploration. So if you have like 475 shards to spend because you transferred, because you got extra for whatever reason, because you saved them from earlier gens, do 4 stars, maybe 1 level of widget, and that's really it, right? Don't invest really in Wayne. He's not gonna be used for many generation. You're not gonna use him in many places. But that's how can your Arena look like, and your exploration, something like that, and just swap if you have Damos, and that will be good enough, and that will be kind of your new baseline moving forward. I'll make a bit of a longer video about Gen 7. It's a bit more exciting. There's more things to do. But yeah, and if you could actually, of course, have our friend Renee, right? That could be worth it. And that's sometimes something that works a bit more. It depends on the opponents, right? But that could work well. So that's it for Gen 6. Hope it was helpful. Let me know if you were looking for anything else about Gen 6. But again, it's not the most exciting generation, so nothing much to add for now. Hope it is helpful. See you actually tomorrow for a live stream. My connection is not that good at the moment. I have connection issue and it's like a cable damage, but we did, isolation from the outside of the house and they did not move the plug and the cable is stuck in the middle of the wall. I cannot just change the cable like that. So it needs a bit of work. So I'll try to have it fixed, in the coming weeks, but it could mean that streaming is compromised for the next 1 or 2 weeks. Until that's fixed, I'll give you posted on Discord. As usual, consider joining the Discord, consider subscribing. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.